Kidding me? Like,
Yeah, I know. Okay, so
I mean, yeah, we could.
I've got to paint a little more detail around what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah.
So you're talking about like
This is a couple years of using this
yeah,
tool,
exactly.
right? So
We're at least a couple years in.
yeah, yeah.
So you're talking about they have a notion of like once you get beyond the idea of a file, you have projects, you have teams, you have plans and all this stuff.
Right, yeah. So, and sorry to go back a few more. Pricing strategy in terms of a SaaS company. They have a free plan, right?
They do, yes.
And it's you basically get it's not feature based. It's
Nope.
project based, right? So you get 3 projects, and then once you can upgrade to like a monthly and
Yeah.
okay.
It's
yeah.
interesting. In short, it's basically hindering you at if you want to collaborate more with other people and organize your work around teams. That's where the value kind of vector is.
Okay.
On that, yeah.
All right. Okay.
So, but to your point, like, and they recently, I think a couple months ago, they actually refreshed this.
Oh, they did.
It still has this issue.
Dude, they must have had so many complaints.
Well, they refreshed their admin, kind of how they do this stuff.
So bad.
So Jay's. So just I want to say
I'm
for the
so angry
listening
about
and
it.
viewing audience, the reason
I'm so mad about it.
So it's been painful in the past, and it still is a little bit painful, true too, to basically go in and understand like how to. We've tried to juggle projects where we had to have like change the ownership of who has them, inviting team members, or even changing the pricing up and down. And so the way to do these things was a very kind of not apparent method or link or anything.
You're being nice. You're being nice. It was so bad. It was so bad.
Welcome to The Experience, brought to you by Weave.com, a show that explores what it takes to compete on customer experience and build an online company that can last decades. As always, thanks for being a supporter of the show.
So I think today's brand is Figma, right?
Figma, so
which is a design tool.
Correct. So
Okay.
it's, in the design tool space.
Okay.
The drink we picked for today is called a tea punch. T is in T-I.
Okay, so why'd you pick this drink? Because it's strong.
I did not pick it so strong. That's just a side benefit. So I picked it because this drink, as we'll talk about Figma, one of the things that really impresses me about this tool, and I'm definitely in the like core audience of it.
Okay. Yep.
Is it has this? It's the best metaphor I can think of. It's like a camera. Like it gets out of its way. Like it gets out of the way and really as a creative tool, and it just lets you kind of really. It doesn't muddy the experience. So this drink, it doesn't have a lot going on in it. There's a few ingredients. Also gets out of its own way. Doesn't muddy the experience.
Yeah.
And if you're knocking them back repeatedly, it wouldn't help. It would not.
Yes.
It would not at all slow your pathway to the floor either.
Figma allows you to design. This drink allows you to get drunk.
There you go. There you go.
Perfect. All right. So so kick us off. I guess a little bit about
you bet.
the business and any details.
Let me get some context around it for a second. It's a business. So Figma is a kind of an interface or digital product design tool.
Okay.
It's worth understanding that this space has really blown up in the last 4 to 5 years.
Oh yeah.
Before there was like 1 or 2 players in the space. One really, it was like kind of Photoshop.
Yep.
Some things that got killed off. I know you love fireworks.
Yeah.
But yeah. So for the folks who are designing websites and then more increasingly actually software and applications, they didn't have a lot of choices. Sketch came along. That was a pretty amazing
oh my
change.
gosh, that was so big.
And then in the last handful of years, there's been this kind of cool little arms race, as it were, between these tools. So the folks who started Figma, they started in 2012, but it actually took them a few years to actually. I don't know if they started the research on it or what. Like I saw a founded data then, but when they actually launched their first product was in 2016.
Oh wow.
So and they made a couple of interesting gambles and bets that.
But they say the founded date's 2012.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you and I are born we could say our born dates, I suppose. But.
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah.
So there's 2 guys, Dylan Field and Evan Wallace. Dylan's the CEO, Evan's the CTO.
Okay.
I actually remember when this kind of came on the scene earlier, and they had made some interesting bets about. Another thing that's interesting to know about Figma is it was one of the earlier tools to actually say we're going to be a cloud-based tool or like a web-based tool as opposed to a client.
Yeah, it was big.
And so we'll talk a little bit more about that, but there's some really interesting implications of that. But they felt like there was actually the technology was ready enough, and the value of what it meant to work that way was big enough that that was their vision for the company. Was essentially the importance and power of collaboration, and really like a single source of truth and for really modern product design practices.
What's interesting about that is I remember the first time you showed me Figma was in 2017.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
I was blown away. Honestly, I was blown away. Probably not for the same things you were, because you're such a product design. You've been doing it for so long. I play with it, but like it was more so around why I kind of adopted Sketch fast was because of I felt like it worked so well with my keyboard, like my everyday keyboard shortcuts. I didn't have any like Photoshop. It was like Command J equals hit Escape F5 and it'll copy and paste something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or this one, I felt like
Well,
it was.
I want to dive
different.
in that a little bit. I thought it was interesting because it's been such a long time, right? Like a couple years now.
Well, and then one last thing was the collab. So I just cannot understate the whole Google. You know, the Google collaboration where you can see people, you know, online with you. That collaboration feel that has never been done, and that was huge. But I don't know how that is for a designer, though.
Well, okay, so I actually have some interesting thoughts, or I have some thoughts on that because it actually kept me away from the product for a little bit.
Oh, really?
I'll tell you why.
Oh, wow.
So a little tiny bit of other context about them that I thought was interesting was they've actually. It goes to that comment that they're in a really competitive space right now, right?
Yep.
So they've actually picked up some pretty big rounds of funding recently.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. So they had a couple of years where they were pretty startup-y.
Okay. Like Bootstrap.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
That's good. No, they may have had some early seed funding.
Really? Okay.
But most of their funding has come in the last couple of years.
Okay.
So they've actually reached $83 million in funding to date.
Oh my goodness.
60 million of that's in the last 2 years.
No wonder
in the last 2 rounds.
So by the way, when you just said that,
that's what made you think that, right?
no, we're gonna get to a point in the show where I'm gonna bring up my beef with Figma.
Oh, okay.
And I now that you just said how much funding they have, I think I know why I have a beef with them. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay, so here's the context. You as a company are trying to create a tool that's trying to approach this problem somewhat differently. You have a gamble, right, on why you think you should be doing it this way. It's different than everyone else is doing it. And you think it's actually going to, you know, the way you're doing it is the right way to do it. For
right.
What's ahead.
Sure.
You get to a point where you get, you know, and I guess the other piece of context that's worth knowing is it took them a while to fight for market share. There's a lot of friction in this space to change tools.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So think about anything you use in your day-to-day business.
Yep.
No matter what it is and whatever your discipline is, like there's a lot of friction to give that up. Like there has to be a lot of reason and gravity. You have to either be really mad at what you're using or really attracted to some ability of what you're not using to try and do it.
Well, and typically, like it has to be a wholesale new product or project that you're working on, right?
Often,
so
yeah.
And
that was actually what happened. So you know this, but coincidentally, we actually started using Figma for Weave.
Yeah, Weave.
And so I'll talk about this. So for myself, I had actually remember when Figma came out, and I was intrigued. Their big thing that they were selling on, like I mentioned, was this idea of collaboration. Yeah. And as a designer, it made zero sense to me. I'm like, you know, not the collaboration idea, but the whole notion of having someone else like wank around in the same file while I'm in sounds like a nightmare. Yeah. Once you start using it, though, you start to realize, I'll dive into these in a minute, there's a lot of other nuances to what that affords. Right. My fear was it was a lot of people trying to move the furniture around the room at the same time. Okay. And I also had some friction where the tool I was using was working pretty well, right? Okay. And I'm actually, you know this about me, I'm pretty tool fluid. Like I'll explore and try tools.
You're in and out. Yep.
I'll try pretty readily.
Yeah.
So we did jump into it full like on a new project you mentioned.
Yes. Okay. So we've got some. Okay. So that's awesome context. I actually didn't realize how 2012. That just still blows my mind. But okay. So let's dive in. So normally at this point we kind of look at this product or experience like we're dating someone. So. Yeah. Walk me through like the goods, the bads, when it was. You bet. When they did something weird.
If I look at the kind of the experience that they offer their customers, you know, and the users and so forth in that relationship, there's a few lenses, right? So the kind of branding and identity. And for them, I mean, that's a big part of it. They're definitely a product, right? So the big thing is going to be the product experience, but at least that lead in of like, there's a few things there that are interesting. So again, the reason I mentioned it earlier is they're dealing with a people who are going to be suspect. Oh yeah. Tool, but they're going to be equally excited, right? Yep. And it was interesting. They recently did a rebrand and kind of updated their identity a little bit. Their original identity was kind of it resonated pretty well with me. I remember it felt, and I actually went to the Wayback Machine. I was looking at their old website just out of curiosity.
Oh really?
Yeah. And so they had it was very. I want to say it was like very. It felt like a truly digital tool, like the way they were presenting their brand. It just felt clean, digital, felt lean and efficient, kind of like, as I would later find out the tool itself was, and just, you know, kind of a modern sensibility to it. The latest brand, and I don't know, I mean, not working for the company, I don't know the reasoning behind this. They've tried to make it a little bit more inviting and playful, I believe. It has an interesting effect to me, at least, of feeling a little more dumbed down. Okay. Like the current thing feels.
Oh, the new one does.
The new branding feels a little more dumbed down, and I think it does a little bit of a disservice. Like if I try and stick on my hat of like what would it feel like to come to this fresh today, I feel like, you know what, I would compare this to other tools and feel like it's like maybe it doesn't have the sophistication and power that I'm aware of today, having used it. When I look at their new branding,
I wonder if they're trying to widen their segment.
that was my curiosity.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
maybe they are. And again, as we'll go into, they actually are trying to be more than just a designer's tool. And
I was just gonna say, yeah, because like even like me, so the way me and you worked. Sorry, I want to interject here because I think this is interesting. Because Sketch never did this, and even with Photoshop, but Figma is allowing. Because product design engineering is starting to commingle more than ever, so right, like the teams are. I mean, even with our old company, we had like full pods of just product design engineers, and I guess the setup we had before was like I was more on the business marketing side, running the company, and you're running all the design teams, the product teams, and so I guess it allowed different users, I guess, to kind of dive in the tool, and it kind of killed the shoulder tap that I felt like I had to have with you or the designers on the team. I could just log in and kind of see where you guys were at.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up. So that goes to like that, what I didn't realize about that power of collaboration. So to pull back for a second, these guys invested in like this idea of like, the ability to collaborate and actually have people like operate on a single place. Like we could all come to the same lawn and build and talk about stuff, as opposed to Clayton's got his stuff locked up in the backyard. We can only see it when he wants to show it, right?
It's the most recent file, too.
Yeah, and that's what it always had existed, right?
Yeah.
So all of them, you had to, and so there was a lot of problem of communication, of common understanding, shared understanding, of just, drift, etc. And so it wasn't just about you and I co-creating something. That was actually almost like a secondary benefit. It was really about us being able to like have this common ground where we could like talk and play. It was our playground for our product and our ideas, right?
Yeah.
Not just playground, but like where they evolved. And so as we would, whip through products, you and I had this space. And because they invested in having it be an online tool, and granted, for those who aren't familiar with it, you can use it online, where you can download an application that uses that. But so it feels like an application.
Sure.
But and other tools have followed suit. But it had the effect that you're talking about.
So let's talk about so a little bit further down the experience besides the identity. So downloading it, kind of experience it for the first time. Maybe it's a little hard to remember, but just like there's a lot of like component, kind of things to it. Like, was there a lot of ups? Like, what's the word? Like spin up to kind of get going with it, or did it feel pretty fluid?
Well, it's interesting. So I have two thoughts on it. One is, and I guess I will say too, that there's a marketing piece that comes in this as well, right? Like who they are, but then like how they kind of compel me, or how they get their message out. They definitely felt like they were pushing up. They got past my friction of actually trying them on a new product or project, because they had some interesting functionality they were really being innovative with.
So it wasn't about pricing. It wasn't about features. It was about some sort of feature.
In that case, and actually I'll circle back to this because I think it's a kind of an issue they might have now, but it was about features to some degree.
Okay.
And the experience, the product experience. But to your point, I tried it, right? That was like I had a point where I was willing to try it, and I had enough back pressure from like a few other people I'd heard, and this is about a year in after they launched.
And people are like, hey, use this. But
even then, they didn't have a huge market share, but enough that I'm curious enough to try it.
Okay.
So when I first got into it, I had probably like a week or so where I was kind of like trying to shift around how I think about the tools I use.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But once I got to it, I literally never went back. And I left.
Oh, really?
I never went back.
Wow.
I had a tool. So for like anything.
I didn't know that.
Oh, really? So yeah. So we used it on Weave, right?
Yeah.
I started for every other product using it as well, and I was worried
So real quick, sorry. Why?
Why? Well, okay. So here's again like.
Because you are so like.
Fickle.
Yeah, like, and you're just constantly trying new things, and like it takes a lot to kind of please you in a sense, right? So like that's impressive.
Well, I think that actually this goes probably to the core value of their product experience, and it goes through in a lot of ways. But they have a number of things. But this is one of the ones I appreciate most. They actually have done the job, like I mentioned, like the drink, right? They've created, like when you create something, having a really strong feedback loop between thought and execution, and then coming back to like responding to that. So I have an idea. I'm going to try it, and then I'm going to see what it feels like or looks like.
You could do it faster.
I could do it much faster. And there was just like because they had really, I think by design, had removed a lot of the friction and the noise that often happens in that process, that they made that feedback loop really clear and strong. And so I could move really quickly in there. And it wasn't just about efficiency.
Well, like, why couldn't you do that in Sketch?
It's not that I couldn't, but I could do it better in Figma.
Really? So this is what's so interesting, because this is what the whole show's about, right? Our whole belief is that we're not competing on price.
Yeah.
We're not competing on features. We're competing in a world of experience.
And some of it
Feels,
was. Go ahead.
but it feels like I know what got you there.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
it was feature based,
Mm-hmm.
but it feels like, and I could be wrong. Maybe tell me, but it feels like the experience is really what kept you there.
Okay, so I would say like you go like for them, right? They're a very good example of like an interesting SaaS product where it's truly about this. It's the product experience that's going to keep you, right?
Right.
There's certain stuff that'll get you in the door, and then once you try,
Yeah.
And I will, man, you just made me realize something else. Again, because I'm a nerd of like just keeping my finger on the pulse of like the tools I use. I'll go play around. In fact, even today I was playing around with another one, and I'll give them like a few minutes to kind of see if there's something intriguing or different. And to their credit, they got past that point where I was actually intrigued to keep with it.
Really?
Next point. And today you asked me about their onboarding. I revisited it today. And they do, it's not, I wouldn't say amazing per se, but it's not bad.
Okay.
So what they do for the new user is they do one thing that most companies do, where they kind of just show you like when they show up, like, hey, do you want a tour? And they give you like all the highlights of everything you don't understand.
And you're like, skip this, I'm good, yeah, get me out of here.
If you go through, you're going to forget
Yeah.
in 2 seconds. But then they also do something these other design tools do, which is fairly smart, which is they give you a few documents that actually make you exercise the skills. And what they've done that's intelligent is they do it around they do that same thing, like try this, try that. They do it around some of the key ways of thinking that the product thinks. So try doing something like this. And as you learn those key ways of thinking, then you're basically, whatever tool you came from, you're kind of translating how you do that work to the way this tool thinks about things, which is usually like much of the friction changing between tools. So if you're used to driving, car A versus B, or racing one, right? Like this helps you figure out like, okay, if you knew how to handle turns in that car, this is how this car handles turns. So that was interesting for the onboarding. I think that feedback loop I talked about is definitely a big part of it. There's this idea of that, and I guess the other part we already mentioned as well, which was this foundational idea of it being like, man, I can't overstate this. Once you have like the ability to have like, whether you choose to have other people come to it or not, this online kind of source of truth, it's easy to share, and then it's like that you can bring. So you and I have experienced this, right? We should talk about this, where we'll sometimes get in there, just sketch out ideas and just whatever.
Yep.
And then we'll go take them to another level and play with them further. But the fact you and I can go in and like just actually have a common, almost whiteboard's not quite the right metaphor, but a common space to look at is really, really powerful within a team. And that goes back to, I think, why these guys exist. They're really trying to make not just a designer better, but the whole product team better.
I totally agree. And I think what you're trying to say is like, if that didn't pull through, is, like when you've got an idea and you're trying to get out of your head, and you get lost in the fidelity of a design.
Oh yeah,
trying to make it look perfect, right?
Yeah.
It allows you to quickly, I guess, prototype is the word, wireframe maybe, like just ideas of how this could potentially look, and not get lost in trying to make every pixel look perfect.
It's interesting you say that, because you totally could get lost, and it has the ability to go crazy.
100%.
But maybe it's because you actually have other, like you and I and other team members will be on a call. We'll have this open, and it's our whiteboard. We're quickly dragging around. But once the whiteboard stage is done, we can go and do something different with it.
Yeah.
So this is the other thing I want to mention that's really, I think, interesting about these guys, and it kind of speaks to where maybe they need to go next, is it feels to me, and there's enough here that it feels like by design, they took the time to really try and appreciate and understand the modern process for creating products and what might be most valuable there. And they did this in a few ways. So one was a collaborative thing I just mentioned, right?
Okay.
Another is they've come out of the gate kind of more so initially, and then out of the gate they came with a number of features that were pretty new, like they had not really been there before, and they've had a good history and track record of like releasing innovative features in this kind of area. And then they still do that to date, but just the standards getting higher and higher. Yeah. But I guess the pin I want to put in this is that they've done a really good job of understanding the problem that these people are trying to solve. They didn't have an existing product that they had to try and like protect or migrate, and they came in and said, "What's the right way to solve?" It
was a refresh, remix,
or just a new start. This is a classic. It's like the innovator's dilemma kind of thing. It's like they could come in and say, "What's the right way to actually solve this right now?" And they looked at it through that lens. Now, I think what's a challenge for them, frankly, going ahead, and I still use Figma today, and I'm not intending to leave them anytime soon, but the tide's risen, right? Those guys helped rise the tide.
They set a new bar, and now
they set a new bar, and then we go second. We talk about competing on features, right? That's definitely important. There hasn't been. I talk about the friction of moving from tool to tool. There hasn't been enough gravity or nothing compelling me to go to another tool yet. But I can start to feel it.
Really?
I can start to feel like there's just the possibility of new things. Like if we talk about that spectrum of having a team of people who are designing digital products work better, there's new gaps that are dividing. Without going into the weeds too far, part of it's like getting development design to work more closely together. Part of it's being able to quickly work with existing ideas that you already have in a product. So it's like code and design getting a little closer. It's different things. And I'm curious, like Framer, which we haven't, subject. Like they're doing a little bit of this, other products are doing a little bit of this.
Okay.
And I'd be curious, like.
But they're coming the other way.
A little bit, yeah.
Right? They're
interesting, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So for Figma, I hope that they're really close to understanding this process will continue to push them in the right direction. They've done some recent things that have actually shown that they have a real close eye on what's important. But they also have a different liability now, which is they have a product. They can't just come in and blow up their product.
Well, okay.
Or they could, but
so this is where I'm excited to talk about Figma. So you've been dating this girl. She's super hot. She's awesome. She has the best, like everything's great. She's checking all the boxes, but she doesn't. My problem with Figma is she doesn't want to commit.
She has man hands? Oh.
She does not want to commit.
Okay.
And I know you can back me up on this. But again, like when you talked about 83 million in funding, it's like they have a problem. It's like, we don't want your money. Like the upgrade process to move to a paid plan for Figma has to be the most cumbersome, complete shit show I've ever seen. Like, and maybe they've gotten better. I haven't been in there in a while, so maybe they've improved it.
You haven't been in the admin side as much lately, yeah.
But man, like, dude, even just to get to the admin, are you kidding me? Like,
yeah, I don't. Okay, so
I mean, I've got to
paint a little more detail around what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah.
So you're talking about like
this is a couple of years of using this tool,
exactly.
right?
We're at least a couple of years in.
Yeah.
So you're talking about they have a notion of like once you get beyond the idea of a file, you have projects, you have teams, you have plans, and all this stuff.
Right. Yeah. So, and sorry to go back a few more. Pricing strategy in terms of a SaaS company. They have a free plan, right?
They do, yes.
And it's you basically get, it's not feature based, it's project based, right? So you get 3 projects, and then once you can upgrade to like a monthly and okay.
It's interesting. In short, it's basically hindering you if you want to collaborate more with other people and organize your work around teams. That's where the value kind of vector is.
Okay.
On that, yeah.
All right. Okay.
So, but to your point, like. And they recently, I think a couple months ago, they actually refreshed this.
Oh, they did.
It still has this issue.
Dude, they must have had so many complaints.
Well, they refreshed their admin, kind of how they do this stuff.
So bad.
So I want to say
I'm
for the
so
listening and viewing
it.
audience, the reason
I'm so mad about it.
So it's been painful in the past, and it still is a little bit painful, too, to basically go in and understand like how to. We've tried to juggle projects where we had to have like change the ownership of who has them, inviting team members, or even changing the pricing up and down. And so the way to do these things was a very kind of not apparent method or link or anything.
You're being nice. You're being nice. It was so bad. It was so bad. I mean, for a design tool, and they can't figure. You know what I mean? It's like, we're just way over their head. You know what I mean?
But
it's like almost like the last thing they were thinking about.
Well, but to your point, they didn't revisit it for like 2 years.
But this is also too like the issue with like funded companies sometimes is they just get so user growth and high. You know what I mean? They're looking at like these like eye candy metrics, like that just vanity metrics that just don't matter.
Do you think
they were worried about like
profitability
and like trying to because I feel like when I'm using a product now, you know, like I want to make sure these guys are around for the long haul, and I understand where they're going with the product and the vision, and they just I don't know, like I mean they're definitely there, but like what happens when they run out of money? You know what I mean? Like because they're not making that a priority.
Because you and I are huge fans of people who actually build real businesses, right?
Yes, and this feels a little
With the charge like because it forces you to be honest up front.
Did you get a sense of their users or revenue or anything?
I didn't.
When you researched it?
Yeah, I didn't, unfortunately. So I'm almost again like I don't. You can tell me if I become biased or not. Do you think in this space, if you're running that company, and you're in a space where you've got Adobe's gotten their shit together. They've launched a new product in the last couple of years called XD. Sketch is starting to catch back up again.
Is XD even Is that
No, these are ones that are truly competing.
okay?
So if you look at like the top leaders, Sketch might still be
Yeah,
the biggest.
XD Sketch.
But I guess there's probably like 3 or 4 that you could probably speak to that are like kind of.
Okay.
Do you think like you want to have paying customers, but are you trying to invest in other areas just to get market share, or is that something that's gonna?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I guess there's growth plans to both, but I mean, I guess if you did have paying customers, you're gonna have real, true people kind of helping you guide and shape the product.
Yeah.
Where maybe Adobe's taking a guess because they have a bunch of money. You know what I mean? Or
that's a scary thing.
And even think about this. Like, another thing I've been thinking about as we're sitting here talking is like, why has Sketch and maybe Adobe? I don't know anything about Adobe XD, so I can't speak on that. But why has Sketch not been like, oh shit, here's Figma. They've come out with this even just adding a collaborative feature to Sketch and making it desktop or Adobe XD. Like, do they have why is no one else doing this?
Yes. So actually, this brings me back to what I was saying earlier. So the stuff that I think Figma has pushed on well, and again, there's the big things we talked about. There's some small things they did that I think were kind of innovative in terms of how they just made that process work better in the way of everything from components to design systems, etc. It's like almost like you have this kind of Cold War, which benefits designers, but you have not Cold War, what do you call it? Like arms race. So you have as soon as one releases a feature, another one. So XD will have an interesting feature too. The others will catch up, and vice versa. So Sketch, though, to answer your question, they started adding this stuff. For me, it's like I already sell to America from Britain, and I'm not taking a ship back. Like it's like it doesn't make sense to me. But for people who care about it, it probably makes a lot of sense. But that's kind of the scary thing right now is. This is a bigger field, so maybe there is enough demand for all these tools. But at the same time, I'm wondering, how do you continue to So let's go back to kind of the heart of what we talk about. So the experience thing, right? So here, these guys have done, I think, in my opinion, being a user there, is they've done a really good job with their product experience. They've gotten out of the way. They've really understood to date the design process. They've got it. Hopefully, they keep following that thread and do more of it.
I agree. Their core product's great. Upgrade process sucks.
Yes, and they invested in some ideas that were really valuable.
Yes.
Other folks start doing that.
100%.
It makes you wonder, what do you keep doing to make sure that
well, and also too, this is where my head. So our heads are probably in different places because you're more the designer, producty kind of thinking. I'm thinking about it from maybe more of a business marketing perspective of Figma. If I've raised $83 million, your valuation of that business is probably pretty big. I'm assuming it's a couple $100 million. Who are you selling to? You know what I mean? Because now they've got this kind of expectation of monkey on their back of we've got all this money.
Oh yeah.
We better build this up or what, right? Or you go public. You know what I mean? What do they? I wonder. I would love to know the vision of Figma. Where are they trying to go with it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I would say to kind of circle it all up. I think to that point, they've done a good job at getting to where they are today, and they've paved a road for other people. I'm really interested to see what it holds for the next number of years.
Yeah, how do they innovate? How do they innovate on Figma to stay ahead of Adobe XD?
And Framer,
Sketch,
even, and Framer and other ones.
I was gonna say Framer because honestly, Sketch is great, but they're not really doing much to innovate to catch up.
Well,
where it feels like Adobe XD, Framer.
Yeah.
You can even say Webflow.
For different market, yeah. And what's sad is not sad, but Sketch is doing this stuff, but it may be too little.
Yeah.
We're hard because we're not users of them anymore. We left the island, but So it is it's a very what's funny about this is it's the same reason we try and talk about this stuff, right? These guys are at that crux. They're a really good example of someone who's starting to hit feature parity. And each time they log a thing out, the other one gets it. So what else do you do?
It's right back. It's right back to the whole point of the show.
Yeah.
Right? Their feature, they're going to be featured, even pricing, you know what I mean? It's just...
And okay, so I would say a couple of things they're trying to do around that. They've done some good jobs is they're building a a stronger ecosystem around...
plugins. I saw that.
Different stuff like that.
And what are they...
and they've done
anything noteworthy so far with the plugins?
There was one recently. This might be a little bit in the weeds for folks, but... So design systems have been massive in the last couple of years.
Okay.
And that's the idea of I have this kind of language for my product. and a lot of tools have gotten better at like helping you create and manage those. What they just recently released that kind of blew my mind because I never even thought it was important until I saw it. Like that's a good thing. Like it's like Uber. Like I never knew I wanted to drive someone's car with my phone until I did it. Is they actually released this kind of basically way to do analytics around your design system.
Oh shit!
So you could tell if you were in a bigger company. So imagine us being back in the these where you could have you could see who is consuming what pieces of your of the system, like i.e. is a component like even being used or out of date. Are they actually pushing back updates? Is it which teams are actually working on it? So if you in a lot of companies where you're trying to really not only just create it, which is enough of a work, but do the bigger job of like
consuming it
yep. and caring for it.
Yep.
So they have to still cross the divide that Framer's been playing with of like the design dev divide.
Right.
But I'm optimistic, and if they were in the room, I would love to hear like that would be my big thing. Like I love you guys. I want you to stick around, but you guys have helped bring us all to like another level, and now we're gonna have to figure out how to like keep going. Like and honestly,
and credit to them. Like we should give 100% credit to them. They've changed the game,
and everything they've done in their experience has kept me as a loyal customer.
Yeah. Unless
there becomes enough of a gap between them and someone else painting an even better, brighter future, right?
So real quick before I ask you another question, so what was the founders' backgrounds?
So I looked into Dylan's a touch. I don't know if I looked at Evan. So Dylan's he had what's funny is I remember back years ago. This may have been before they launched, like when they were in preview. Them talking about like they had like some ideas. They were like kind of on a fellowship or something. Dylan was on a fellowship. I can't remember what one it was. So he had some time to kind of work on problems, and I think they understood enough of the technology behind this to say we could do this. So, but as far as companies, he was with Flipboard as an internship, which I thought was kind of interesting. Do you remember Flipboard?
Yeah.
That was kind of innovative.
So he did that, and then he was on a fellowship. Or like a sabbatical.
If you're listening, I hope I haven't messed up your entire bio. Okay, but I'm pretty sure that what had happened is he did these internships, and then he had some manner of fellowship through. Well, I presume he was still in school.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Got it. Okay, so, all right. So you being the most fickle person I know in terms of like tools, would you recommend this to anyone, really to one of your fellow product designers, friend, whatever?
Yes, because I think any other tool I would recommend aside from this would be a very special use case.
Oh, so like Framer would be a special use case?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think it'd take a certain type of problem, a certain type of person or team.
And then, okay. And have you tried, sorry, real quick, one last question. Have you tried Adobe XD?
I have. So in some of the projects I work on, there's some other people that are working on XD stuff, and they want reviews in that. So I played a little bit, and just because, again,
Is it, give me just like one, 30-second overview of Adobe XD in your opinion. Just to compare Figma.
Of their what?
Just like their experience versus like Figma. I just want to know real quick.
Okay, I would say using the product, it feels not as full featured to me personally, based on what I'm accustomed to. I have a little bit of
feature.
Yes, I have a little bit of the lens of the type of way I like working in the other one. So some of this is just a pure familiarity I have.
Okay, that's fair.
Then there's a few things they have that aren't different. The one thing I will give props to XD for, which is it's pretty impressive with a big company like that, is they've been really from the day one, that product's been really good at being iterative.
Oh, really?
Something out there.
Getting feedback and
that's
cool. That's cool.
So I would be, and I'm sure these other companies are horrified because you've got a company with like the wallet of Adobe that has let a team like XD keep pushing, and they're not quite like I have not been compelled to go over yet, and I don't know if I ever will, but yeah, they've got the means.
Dude, no, I think this is a really good product. I mean, you're definitely the perfect person to bring this product, and honestly. This drink is perfect because, I drank the whole damn thing, but
I know,
this is a really strong drink.
Time in the beginning, but I saw you kept trying to go after more of that.
Yeah, it's a really strong drink. But to your point, and even for me, when I get into Figma, I feel like I can just jump straight in.
Yeah.
And this is like, I can just jump straight in with the
punch.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, that's a good conversation.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks for coming to the show. We'll see you on the next one, and stay for the drink. Clayton, as always, made the tea punch, which is essentially a rum old fashioned, and that is a good way to start your night. So
or end it.
The Experience is brought to you by Weave.com, the innovative tool that is helping SaaS companies automate their customer retention. As always, thanks for being a supporter of the show. You've had the experience, now stay for the drink.
I do know this. You're a fan of the old fashioned.
Yes.
Yes. This is actually a very, it's like a distant, weird, like third cousin. It's a first cousin 3 times removed.
This is a rum old fashioned. This will put you on your ass.
Yeah, well, okay,
Yeah.
so let's talk about what it is. So this is from Martinique. I don't know if you know this, Jay. Martinique is a island in the Caribbean. It's part of the French Caribbean. So they heard people, I don't know if they heard people bring old fashions or not. It may have been they came up with this themselves. But they decided to use rum agricole. So this is a special kind of rum that's got a kind of, I would say you can taste more kind of almost like earthy kind of vegetable notes in it. Sounds like I'm talking about wine. We have some simple syrup. So it definitely follows the old-fashioned template. We're gonna build this in the glass, which means we're not gonna stir it in another glass and transfer it in. So the way this drink works is very simple. It kind of belies itself in the simplicity of it. You have essentially, oh, I don't need that.
Oh, okay.
I
thought you needed a muddle.
I'll do different.
Okay, all right.
So we're going to take, actually what I do need, oh man, you know, this shows that you and I just,
grab it. What do you need? What do you need?
I need a knife and a cutting board. So
It's right here.
yeah, grab me that cutting board. I got a knife over here.
Okay.
All right. So, you know, they call us in the product business pivoting. You and I are pivoting in the course of making this cocktail. Maybe adapting is a better word. All right. Okay, so here's how it works. So here's the secret. Like the whole idea of an old fashioned is you want to taste the booze, right? You want to taste a really, really good bourbon or a really good rye, and you're putting a little bit of sugar to round it out so it doesn't taste like ass, and you're trying to like put a little bit of seasoning to really pop up the flavors.
Sure.
So this is the same idea in a rum drink. So we have a nice rum that has its own kind of characteristics, and our seasoning is lime and our sugar is simple syrup. The reason this is a little different color is we're using a cane sugar simple syrup. So the way this works is we essentially take, we want to take a disc of this lime, which means like, kind of like almost like a $1/2 size. We're just cutting enough to kind of get a tiny bit of the fruit in there, and not much, and we're just popping that in. We're gonna do the same thing in the other drink, because you and I actually are both gonna enjoy this.
Oh boy.
And then we're going to put in a bar spoon, and this is a little bit bigger than, actually markedly bigger than a bar spoon. So I'm gonna put a tiny bit of sugar in here. Drop that in. And then depending on the recipe, there's some recipes that call for you can like do a slight bit of kind of a light muddle where you're trying to express some of the oils from the lime, but you don't need much, like just a little press. And then depending, you know, those in Martinique hopefully don't like, you know, don't get mad, but like, you know, some people don't like this, some people do. So all we've done then is we have the sugar and we have the lime, right? Next part is we need 2 ounces of this nice quality rum.
2 ounces?
2 ounces, so 1,
Wow.
2, and
It's a strong drink.
it's a strong drink, but like it doesn't have any necessarily more alcohol than other drinks have, but it's just more forward. So
Sure.
The last piece of this is we're actually gonna just swizzle this a little bit, stir it a little bit to kind of combine those flavors. And I have kind of a big chunky spoon here at the moment. And now this is the way the drink is meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to be enjoyed kind of this temperature. And what the reason for that is it really pulls out the flavor of this particular rum. But that said, a lot of people also enjoy it with a little bit of ice just to help chill it out a tiny bit in terms of flavor. So that's an option too. So if anyone's giving you a hard time about having ice in your tea punch, you can just tell them to settle down. So make one without, one with, and there, my friends, simple, but very effective and rather delicious is, as I'm dropping everything on the table, is a tea punch.